Platformers are one of the oldest genres of video game, being inherently accessible by players of all skill levels. This accessibility, for more hardcore players, led to the need for more challenging games. This would birth the subgenre of precision platformers. This new subgenre would be defined by tight controls, well-designed levels, and fun movement mechanics. Though this subgenre is somewhat dormant, the release of Celeste marked what is, in my opinion, the very model of this genre. Celeste is a precision platformer released in 2018, which is widely acclaimed as one of the best indie games in the last decade. There are many fantastic reasons for its popularity, but today we're going to be focusing on the gameplay itself. Gameplay, which is absolutely top tier. This game handles flawlessly, and the screens you must navigate through are stunning with complex yet fun obstacles at its core. First, allow me to elaborate on Celeste's controls. All the actions you need can be simplified down to a D-pad and 2 buttons, cutting down the time necessary to learn which button does what. The simplicity of control mixed with the intuitive way the actions are mapped create a synergy between the mind and the hands that, over the course of the game, becomes completely second nature. Like riding a bike, I fumble slightly with the controls at the start of every play session, but it all floods back to me, and I'm fully in my element within a few minutes. I shouldn't have to tell you how valuable ease of input is for a platformer, but something just as important that Celeste completely nails is the perfect responsiveness of Madeline, the player character, to those inputs. She feels snappy and fast-acting, which only serves to further eliminate the barrier between the player's mind and the actions they are performing in-game. In tandem, these factors make Madeline one of the best controlling platforming characters I have ever played. Don't just take my word for it, though. If you want a real look at how many people appreciate and enjoy Celeste's tight, fantastic controls, I highly recommend taking a look at the speedrunning community for this game and the awesome tricks they're able to pull off with it. Truly, no one could give you a better picture of what the mechanics are like except for those who use them every day and bend and break the rules on them constantly. And all that precision of movement is absolutely required for the daunting task this game sets before you. Tasked with climbing Mount Celeste, Madeline, and by extension the player, have a long and winding path before them. A path primarily paved with interesting locations filled with themed platforming challenges. Don't let those bright aesthetics fool you. This game is enough to give even seasoned platforming players a run for their money. With enough practice and help from the game's many checkpoints, the game makes it abundantly clear that you can throw yourself at any section as much as you need. Not to mention, each area of Celeste feels like it's pulling a brand new gimmick for you. There's always something brand new around every corner. Just when you feel like you've mastered everything the game could possibly throw, bam, there's new stuff. And boy does it relish in the new stuff. It blends with the old perfectly. Everything you've learned up to this point feels like it's been in aid of learning the new mechanic. And not to horribly spoil the ending sequence or anything, but each end of chapter gives you a nice gauntlet of what you've learned, and then the end game becomes a massive gauntlet of everything you've learned in total over all the chapters. So not only is it fantastically designed, but you're constantly being refreshed on the things that you've learned throughout the game. And they're being brought up in new and interesting ways. You are hard-pressed to find a usage of the same mechanic twice across more than one chapter. And yet somehow, despite introducing all these new things and keeping you abreast on all the new things that you've learned, it doesn't feel auxiliary at all. It doesn't feel like any mechanic can be pulled from this game and still have it be the same game. Now granted, I found a few of the little gimmicks throughout the chapters to be a little questionable, personally, but I think it was mostly just due to a weird learning curve I had with them. In the end, I ended up enjoying everything about equally, and I couldn't see this game losing any of them and still feeling the same to me. Don't confuse the challenge for unfairness, however. The game grows with you over the course of the campaign, that way you never feel unprepared for an area you may find yourself in. You're given ample opportunity to learn each and every mechanic before the game puts you through proper challenges with them. Unlike other games that revel in their difficulty, Celeste never pushes itself, or taunts the player, or throws that information back at them. but instead just presents them with a good, honest challenge. On the subject of Celeste's difficulty and fairness, not once during my playthrough could I honestly say a death I experienced was not my own fault. The factors we discussed just now are precisely why. Blame the controls? They're responsive and accurate to no end. Bad level design? Not a chance. This game is designed near flawlessly, with only the elements you would have been made familiar with before reaching the current screen. Regardless, I found Celeste to be a very frustrating game, and if it wasn't the game's fault, then why? Simple. Skill issue. The frustration of Celeste is knowing that you've been given all the tools to succeed, but still feeling challenged. The frustration only serves to make the game more gratifying in the end, however, because once you hit your stride, the game fully engages that flow state in your mind, and everything fades away, leaving nothing but you and the mountain. Your mind clears, and suddenly, it all clicks into place. Once you finally reach the screen exit, the dopamine rush hits, and just for a moment you feel like you've reached the summit, even if you're at the very bottom. Then, the next screen scrolls in, and the cycle restarts. Confusion, then frustration, then focus, and finally, triumph. Celeste makes itself the very model of a precision platformer, through fantastic controls, stunning level design, a gratifying gameplay loop. These factors all make it a must-play for not just fans of running and jumping, but players of all kinds. And there's so many other great things about Celeste that didn't quite fit the focus of this video, like its graphics, its music, its marvelous metaphorical story that I had a nightmare of a time writing this video without rambling on about. And so I might revisit it in the future for another video someday, but for now though, I'd like to hear what you think in the comments. But enough of my thoughts about Celeste. I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments below. What do you think of Celeste? Have you played it? Are you going to play it after this? Is it something you've had on your backlog for a while? If so, I can't recommend it more if it seems even remotely up your alley. And now, on to the boring YouTuber stuff. Hey, did you know that 99% of my audience is not subscribed? So if you're seeing this video, and you liked this video, maybe subscribe and see more like it in the future. Also, thank you guys so much for blowing last month's video up. I am astonished at the reception that video about Beta Minecraft received. It is the most views I've ever gotten on anything in my long-winded stint on the internet. And I'm very thankful for all the newcomers from it. And so, I think that'll do it for me, folks. I've been Voxel64, and I'll see you next month.